Hey everybody, my name is Rebekah Phelps. I'm an author of I'm an Eagle, Not a Field Chick, which is in production right now. The new version will be out by this fall, and an audiobook of that adult version. It's an adult parable, which this video has nothing to do with that book. I went into the bank recently. We work off of a budget called the Dave Ramsey Financial Freedom. And I go into a bank every 2 weeks and I take a sheet that is this budget sheet. And on it, it says, it's highlighted in yellow, that how much money I want out of the bank. And so every time I go into the bank, everybody's curious and thinks it's so cool that I hand them the sheet. It's almost like handing the teller a note, and like I feel like it should really say, give me all the money in your drawer. And they look at it and they're like, this is how much money you want, and this is how the denominations you wanted it, and how many bills. And so everybody thinks it's cool everywhere we go, and I wanted to share it with you guys in case you've ever wanted to do. Everybody always talks about wanting to be on a budget, and yet nobody can figure out how to do it. So first and foremost, this is not my idea. It's Dave Ramsey Financial Freedom. Financial Freedom. But this Excel sheet is my idea, and I put it together, and I'm going to share it with you guys. So some of this I'm going to be talking. I'm going to put a link so that you can download this and customize the budget yourself. But some of this I'm going to be looking down because I'm going to be telling you, for instance, this is just a sample budget that you're going to see in the link below. By the way, if you want my videos in the future, just hit the subscribe button, and it's going to be about all kinds of little topics or life lessons. But this is about financial freedom, and it's a budget that really does work, and a system that's worked for me since I was in my 20s. Actually, I think Dave Ramsey got this from somebody named Larry Burkett. That's how I learned it, wasn't through Dave Ramsey. When I was in my late 20s, I started doing this, and we recently bought a house, and we were told by the mortgage people, we haven't seen anybody with a credit score this high for 5 years. So we have excellent credit. It keeps you on track. It helps you get out of debt, or it helps you manage whatever you have going on. Personally, Dave Ramsey, if you look into him, he's going to tell you shouldn't have any credit cards. I don't agree with that. But I think that's how you keep your credit score high too. But that's me, and we budget for what we want and what we need. So anyway, back to this form that I take into the bank. For instance, you might, and I'm just going to work with this number as an example. This is a really low number, so don't just blow it off. You know, if you need $1,000 every 2 weeks, some people would be like, oh my God, I don't even make that much money a month. And other people would be like, well, I need 3 or 4. So anyway, just adjust it according to what your needs are. So let's say every 2 weeks you went into the bank and you got out $587. So that's just cash on hand. So in these envelopes, hold on a second. In these envelopes, there are categories, and these are my envelopes. So it's Rebekah's hair, George's hair, dry cleaning, clothing, and gifts, okay? And they're just in these bank envelopes that you can get from the bank for free. Don't go out and buy a bunch of, expensive envelopes. One might say grocery money, dining out, and this is what I hand to the teller. I hand her a little Ziploc envelope. I hand her that sheet that has this side on it that tells what denominations, and then she gives it back to me, and then I go home and I separate out the 100s, 50s, 10s, 20s, so on, and I divide them up into these envelopes. So this is our vacation money, this is gifts, and then because we live in an RV right now, we sold our home and everything in it, and we live in an RV, so we have a camping category, camping fees, camping electric, auto maintenance, auto or RV repairs. But you may have that. We just bought a small home for Florida. We decided that if we were going to be here through the winter months, it was frankly cheaper to buy a home. So Anyway, let's just say you went in and we have a cash category, and you were going to each get $50, and your groceries were going to be $150. So the bank knows to give me a $100 bill and a $50 bill. Medical copays. You go to the doctor, you have to pay them $10 or $20 in cash, or prescriptions. That's in there. Haircuts, clothing, dry cleaning, gifts, and so on. This budget sheet also has a sheet for you. If you open up an Excel form, there are tabs at the bottom, and I've color coded them. There's a yellow tab, a red tab, a green tab, and a purple tab. And you could do this as detailed as you want, or maybe you could just use, look, if you just did nothing else but the cash bank part, this part where I go in and get cash every 2 weeks, it would help you get on track with how much you're eating out. And let me advise you also something. If you could go through your checking account, your debit card, save your receipts for 1 to 3 months, put them in different categories. If you don't use QuickBooks, or what's the other one called? It's an accounting program. I used to use it, Quicken. If you don't use one of those and you can't go back and look at how much you're spending on food or gifts, clothing, etc., then keep your receipts for 1 to 3 months. And then average that out. And at the end of do it for a year. And then at the end of the year, you'll know whether you're spending too much in a category, whether you can afford to add more to that category. And then what I do is I come back from the bank and I divvy out the money into the envelopes. And let's say, for instance, there's at the bottom of the tab, you'll see cash, bank, budget, envelopes. So let's say your budget was $150 and you used $100. So you have $50 left when that 2 weeks is ended. Or let's say you used all of it. Then obviously you'd have 0. But let's just go with you used 100. That $50 would roll over and you'd add another 150. So that gives you 200. But there's columns to keep you on track of how much money you have cash on hand in your envelopes. Your medical copay. I mean, sometimes I use that more than others. It depends on, like, for instance, at the first of the year, if I haven't met my deductible, then I'm obviously paying more for scripts or copays. And then by the end of the year, all of a sudden my scripts are free, and so that amount builds. But the good thing about it is it carries over into January, and then you have a surplus of money for medical bills until you meet your deductible. And then, for instance, haircuts. I mean, for me, that might go over, you know, and build up over time, whereas George gets his done every, few weeks. Actually, I've gotten mine done more. Hey, honey, with getting my haircut, when it says I got my haircut short. But also in this includes dry cleaning, gifts, auto maintenance, and you can see how much is in your envelopes because you have 3 totals on hand. You know what you used and you know what you're adding. The cash bank is for your teller. The monthly budget, it'll have a housing category, a transportation category. If you have another income, whether it is a rental home, you have a RV that you lease out, you have a boat that you rent out, you have jet skis that you, whatever, whatever your other income may be. Maybe you have child support coming in, you'd put that in there. You have a food category, insurance and medical, and you really need to know what your true to life figures are. The nice thing about this is also your vacation category. Sometimes we can't go on vacation because we've spent our money, we don't have any money to go on vacation. You can put $100 a month aside or $50, and at least you have some money to go on vacation at the end of the year in the summertime. But if you don't plan, then you don't have anything. Then there's the other tab that there's bills, the monthly budget report, and that goes into great detail on again, and it's color coded for housing, transportation, groceries. So I hope this is helpful to you. I hope that you guys can gain something out of it and use it. I will put a link to the budget worksheet that I've worked up as just a sample, and you can adjust it accordingly. And then also I'll put the name of Dave Ramsey. Also, check online. You can just Google Dave Ramsey Financial Freedom Course near me. A lot of churches offer it for either free or just the cost of the materials. So I hope that's helpful to you, and hope you guys have a blessed day and you get control of your finances before they control you. Talk to you later. Bye.